Hey, welcome back to Zenith Lifestyle. I'm Selby. Today what we're going to talk about is sort of the steps you can take to changing your life to be whole food, plant-based. So it's sort of like vegan, but obviously without the refined oil and sugar and extra things like that. So the steps I took to become whole food, plant-based was cutting out sugar. That was my beginning stage because sugar. Everyone has an addiction to sugar. It's everyone that eats sugar in their daily life has got an addiction there, whether you think you do or not. So I started with that one because that's sort of like, I think, the core of where my addictions were to the other foods. And what I did is just went through the cupboard with the family. We got rid of all the stuff in the house that contained sugar in it. So that's pretty much all the packaged foods. So it did limit our food choices a lot. Thankfully, there is a lot of sugar-free stuff you can get. But we started off like that, and the reason we just got rid of it all is because when you try to slowly wean yourself off, it feels like it takes a lot longer and you're still feeding that addiction there. At least if you, like, we found it easier to go cold turkey. If you find it easy to just go, slowly stages there, that's what you have to do. But for us, we just got rid of it all at one stage. That way, we're not tempted to go to the cupboard and snack out on some chips or some, chocolate or whatever that might be there. And it definitely was challenging getting rid of sugar, especially in the first month, because that's when a lot of trigger points existed. So you'd be like driving home from work or going to the shops and you get a trigger point of where you used to go get an iced coffee or you go get a chocolate bar or something like that. So that was the hard one to work through. But after about a month of cutting out sugar, those addictions slowly started to fade. What we also did when cutting out sugar, we introduced having green smoothies. That's a raw vegetable smoothie. So that way our nutrition is definitely up, because the more nutrition your body has, the less it's going to be looking for those addictive foods. So I think the green smoothies definitely helped us get over that sugar addiction faster than what we might have without it. So we brought in the green smoothies, got rid of the sugar, and then we just had to look at sort of finding if we were going to get any packaged foods to make sure they weren't going to have that high sugar level in it. From there, we looked at removing oil. So obviously we just got a non-stick pan. We already had one of those, so that wasn't too hard there. And we just didn't add oil to extra meals, and meals that said they would require oil, we would just sub it out if we could, or just not add it in at all. So by that stage we'd cut out our sugar, cut out our oil, and we're having green smoothies, and this is about a month into our journey. From there we sort of plateaued a bit and we're just so happy on that line. But then we started researching more into what is a healthy lifestyle, and that's where we found out that sort of meat, dairy, eggs, all that is a very bad food for you and can cause a lot of issues. So that was obviously our next step. And for me, what I did there, I think the first thing I cut out was meat. So one morning I got up and I just didn't have meat that day, and then from there on I never ate meat again. So I'd planned that I was gonna sort of stop, but that's how you do it. You just hop up one day and you're like, okay, today I'm not eating meat. And I didn't find that one too hard because I was still having eggs and cheese. We weren't having dairy because when we decided to start swapping out all the animal products, what we did is when it got plant-based milk, so it's like coconut milk, oat milk, and so dairy was an easy one to get rid of there. It was still a bit of cheese though that I was having. So I was still having my eggs, but about 2 weeks into not having meat, that's when I decided to start giving up the eggs and the cheese, because obviously I don't want, my full goal is to get to whole food plant-based, but I was just slowly going there. You can cut everything out at once, but if you are going to do that, it does make it more challenging because you do have to find a lot more sort of recipes when cooking foods, because a lot of the Western recipes all include the sugar, oil, meat, dairy, eggs. So that's why we didn't just cut it out straight away. It was sort of like a gradual thing. But after the 2 weeks of going without meat, then I cut out my eggs, cut out my cheese, and I did find cheese a harder one, obviously because of the casein and morphine in there, which is an addictive agent. But I managed to get all that gone, and it took me about 3 weeks in total when I decided to stop eating meat to become completely vegan or whole food plant-based. From there we just started learning more recipes, checking out online tutorials on how to cook different plant-based foods, because a lot of stuff we would do for dinner is just like meat and vegetables, or you do a curry but had meat. So you could do those and sub it out. You just take the meat out, but we still want to expand more and just learn more after that. But it's definitely a lot of steps involved. It's not necessarily extremely challenging, but there is a bit of learning involved, because you do have to sort of shift the way you've been thinking about how you cook meals to an entirely new mindset. But that's the way I went about it. I started with the sugar and introducing these green smoothies. Then we cut out oil, and from there it was just a snowball effect. The meat was gone, dairy was gone, eggs, and so on. So, and once you're off that, for a good couple of weeks, you'll start to not miss that anymore. So after I stopped eating meat, give it 3 weeks or so. By the time I saw meat, I didn't want to eat that anymore. Now if I see it, I definitely don't feel any temptations for that. In fact, I feel gross if I ever see that. But overall, just start those steps, wherever you feel comfortable, and then just start knocking it out. And it will be a snowball effect. You'll slowly get, more and more stuff out. You'll find more things to replace it with. And overall, there's a lot of variety of foods you can make on a whole food plant-based diet, more so than when you're just stuck on the Western diet, because a lot of the Western meals, are just the standard meat and veg. But when you're on a whole food plant-based, you definitely try a whole lot more things, in my opinion. So hopefully that gave you an idea of how I went about going whole food plant-based to help you on your path. So thanks for checking out this video, and remember, if you don't look after your health now, it won't look after you later. See you later, guys.